MotoGP, one of the world's most prestigious motorcycle racing championships, has long been a stage for extraordinary talent, courage, and the thrill of competition. Yet, behind the dazzling lights of the circuits and the roar of engines, a financial reality is sparking heated discussions: the decline in riders' salaries. Jack Miller, a seasoned MotoGP rider now racing for Pramac Yamaha, recently shared his candid thoughts on how the market value of MotoGP riders has plummeted compared to the golden era of Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo. In an interview on the Gypsy Tales podcast, Miller highlighted how manufacturer dominance, shifting market dynamics, and riders' desperation to secure the best bikes have eroded their bargaining power in contract negotiations. This article dives deep into Miller's statements, the context behind the salary drop, and its implications for the future of MotoGP, all while keeping the narrative engaging for fans. To grasp Miller's argument, we need to step back to the era when MotoGP was ruled by icons like Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo, Casey Stoner, and Dani Pedrosa. Back then, top riders weren't just athletes, they were global superstars with immense commercial appeal. Valentino Rossi, for instance, wasn't only celebrated for his on-track brilliance, but also for his ability to draw sponsors, fans, and media attention. His contracts with Yamaha and later Ducati reached staggering figures, with reports suggesting Rossi's annual salary hit €15 million or more at his peak. Jorge Lorenzo, with his smooth yet lethal riding style, also commanded hefty paychecks, particularly during his time with Yamaha and later Ducati. These hefty salaries reflected not just on-track success, but the rider's commercial value. Rossi's Rossi effect boosted ticket sales, merchandise, and global interest in MotoGP. Sponsors like Fiat, Monster Energy, and other major corporations were willing to pour in massive funds to back teams with charismatic riders. In this era, riders held strong negotiating power because they were seen as the key assets driving a team's success, both on the track and off it. However, according to Miller, those days are gone. The riders back then, the 3 or 4 big ones, were paid massive amounts, he said. Today, even top-tier riders like Fabio Quartararo, reportedly earning €12 million a year, don't come close to the figures Rossi or Lorenzo commanded in their prime. Marc Marquez, once the highest-paid rider in 2023, while with Honda, has since left the team to join Ducati, a move that signals even a rider of Marquez's caliber isn't guaranteed a blockbuster salary anymore. One of Miller's key points is how manufacturer dominance, particularly by Ducati, has reshaped MotoGP's financial landscape. In recent years, Ducati has emerged as the grid's dominant force with technologically superior and high-performing bikes. In the 2023 season, Ducati clinched the riders', teams, and constructors' titles, a dominance that carried into 2024 and 2025. Riders like Francesco Pecco Bagnaia and Enea Bastianini have shown that Ducati's bikes offer a significant competitive edge. But this dominance comes at a cost for riders. Miller argues that the focus has shifted from individual riders to the bikes themselves. These bikes are so strong, they set the benchmark, he said. In this context, teams and sponsors prioritize competitive machinery over the riders. As a result, riders feel pressured to accept lower-paying contracts just to secure a ride on the best bikes, like the Ducati Desmosedici. Miller himself, who previously raced for Ducati before moving to KTM and then Yamaha, admitted that the desperation to ride the best bike has weakened riders' bargaining power. For example, when Miller lost his factory KTM seat to Pedro Acosta in 2024, his options to stay in MotoGP were limited. It was only due to Pramac's switch from Ducati to Yamaha that Miller secured a lifeline to continue his career. This situation underscores how even experienced riders like Miller often have to accept whatever is offered to stay on the grid. Now the new guys, or established riders, including myself, are signing for peanuts. The decline in riders' salaries must also be viewed in the broader economic context of MotoGP. The cost of developing MotoGP bikes has skyrocketed in recent years, driven by intense technological competition. Manufacturers like Ducati, Honda, Yamaha, KTM, and Aprilia invest tens of millions of euros annually in research and development, including advanced aerodynamics, electronics, and lightweight materials. These costs strain team budgets, leaving less money for riders' salaries. Moreover, MotoGP's business model has evolved. In Rossi's era, major sponsors like tobacco or automotive companies fueled team funding. But with changing regulations and global trends, such sponsors have dwindled, replaced by tech firms or energy brands with often tighter budgets. This drop in sponsorship revenue forces teams to be more cautious with their spending, and riders' salaries are one of the first areas to take a hit. MotoGP also faces competition from other motorsport series like Formula One and World Superbike, which operate under different funding models. Formula One, for instance, has successfully attracted big sponsors and boosted revenue through platforms like Netflix Drive to Survive, keeping salaries for drivers like Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen high. While MotoGP remains popular, it hasn't matched that commercial pull, meaning riders are competing for a smaller slice of the pie. One of the most poignant aspects of Miller's comments is how MotoGP riders risk their lives every weekend yet don't always receive fair compensation. Unfortunately, some of them aren't getting paid what they should be, risking their lives basically every weekend, he said. MotoGP is an inherently dangerous sport with serious crashes that can end careers or even lives. Tragedies like Marco Simoncelli's death in 2011 or severe accidents involving riders like Alex Rins and Enea Bastianini serve as constant reminders of the risks. Despite these dangers, riders often have little choice but to accept lower salaries. As Miller explained, they've got a limited time to make money. A MotoGP rider's career typically spans less than 15 years, with peak performance often in their 20s. After that, opportunities for big contracts fade, especially without significant achievements or personal sponsors. This situation is compounded by the influx of young talent entering MotoGP. Riders like Pedro Acosta, hailed as MotoGP's wonder kid, have drawn attention from top teams since their debut. The presence of skilled young riders willing to accept lower salaries to prove themselves intensifies competition, further pressuring the salaries of veterans like Miller. Jack Miller's own journey exemplifies the highs and lows of a MotoGP career spanning over a decade. Starting in the Premier class in 2015 with a satellite Honda team, Miller later joined Ducati, where he notched several wins and earned respect as a formidable rider. But his path hasn't been smooth. After moving to KTM in 2023, he lost his factory seat to Acosta, a decision that nearly ended his MotoGP career. Miller's move to Pramac Yamaha in 2025 was a surprising twist, especially since Yamaha is currently struggling to regain its former glory. Yet this decision reflects Miller's determination to keep racing, even if it means accepting a lower salary than he might have hoped for. The only other way to make decent money or to get ahead is to ride something different, he said, highlighting the reality that riders must adapt to the sport's changing dynamics. As a veteran, Miller offers a unique perspective on how MotoGP has transformed. He acknowledges that riders like Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia remain major stars, but he feels their value isn't appreciated as it once was. Marc is still Marc, and Pecco is still Pecco, but if we think back 10 years ago, it's hard to say, he remarked, blending nostalgia with frustration at the sport's shifting dynamics. Miller's comments raise critical questions about MotoGP's future. If riders' salaries continue to decline, will the sport remain attractive to young talent? MotoGP relies on drawing skilled riders from around the world, but if the financial rewards don't match the risks, some may opt for other series like World Superbike or even car racing. Furthermore, declining salaries could impact MotoGP's commercial appeal. Riders like Rossi and Marquez are more than athletes, they're icons who bring fans to the circuits. If future riders lack the charisma or financial backing to build their personal brands, MotoGP may struggle to maintain its global fanbase. Dorna Sports, MotoGP's organizer, must consider how to balance team operating costs with fair compensation for riders to ensure the sport's sustainability. On the flip side, some argue that declining salaries are a natural evolution of the sport. With increasingly sophisticated technology and tighter competition, the focus on bikes and team strategy may indeed outweigh individual riders. Yet, as Miller reminds us, riders remain the heart of MotoGP. Without them, there's no show.
Welcome to GP Talks. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.